Good evening. Namaste. The divine within me recognizes and honors the divine within you. For we are here tonight as one to feel, sense, and know that amazing grace that is everywhere present. As each of us come forth here, we each bring with us light. So all of us are an important part of raising the consciousness and the awareness up so that we remember the truth and we express it as our lives. So thank you for being here. We appreciate it. Let us move into the time together, starting with Arya. Oops, I don't want to. Let's start with our gongs. Got to get here now. I need it more than ever, huh? So this is a Buddhist tradition that we use because of the value of bringing us into the present moment. With each one, I invite you to move into your breath and to become present and still. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Wednesday night, the Amazing Grace service, where we come together to remember. For there is nothing that is new, but it's an awful lot of information. And sometimes we forget. And so as we remember, we activate it in our being, and then our whole life starts reflecting it. So we come together here to remember. So I'm glad to see you here. We're following along this year a very powerful book that's called The Way of Mastery. And it's a book that kind of is the next generation, if you will, of the Course in Miracles. It's a combination of all of the great teachings and the faiths. It's a combination of the Bible and Buddha and the Tao and Ernest Holmes and Eckhart Tolle and Byron Katie. It's bringing them all together, and it's a wonderful book. It's concise. It has 35 lessons in it, and we're following along each lesson each time that I speak on Wednesday. And we also just started a class I want to invite you all to. We've actually shifted it from a class into a discussion group that's offered on a on a love basis, a love offering, suggested love offering of whatever fits in your budget. And it's an opportunity for us to get together and we pick out poignant facts and statements in each of the chapters, and then we discuss it. We had our first one on Monday night, and it was incredible. It was just powerful. The consciousness that's there was phenomenal. And so I just invite you to come feel that. It's on a drop-in basis and be part of it. But tonight we're talking about lesson 6, and tonight's lesson is Love Heals. As we said, good pick a song. And so as we're talking about that, and we really look at the subject of love, and first of all, we hear it in so many different ways, but this chapter is really poignant. It starts by saying that love embraces all things, heals all things, and transcends all things. When we look at that and we look about the power of the love, oftentimes we equate our God or source or the universe with love, saying it's one and the same thing. But when we really understand the power of it, when we really understand how to utilize it ourselves or activate it within ourselves, when we really understand how to put it to work in our lives, we live a life that's filled with love. When we say that it embraces all things, meaning that it is non-judgmental. It embraces every situation. It never judges anything. It knows that underneath all situations, love is just there waiting to be found. It heals all things. We are powerful individuals. And if we can stand in that place of love, if we can see love no matter what's going on outside of us, if we can see love in the individual that's in pain and not give credit or not give voice to their pain, but see the truth of their being, it transcends them. It heals them. It heals us. And it transcends all things, meaning that it moves things out of a place up into a higher place, a higher vibration, a place of life that works. So love is very powerful in that essence. And I want to start this evening by sharing with you from the book. This is a little bit of a long reading, but it kind of says it all, because oftentimes we look at love and we look outside of ourselves to get love, forgetting that 100% of it is inside of us. That love is one of those aspects that is infinite. It never runs out. In fact, the more focus and attention you put on it, the greater it is, the more it expands, the more it shows up in your life. We equate love as something that somebody else gives us sometimes outside of us, especially in relationship. Our relationship works if that person is loving or loves me. But when we understand the power of it, that it never is outside, that it is inside, it's in our recognition of it. It's as we activate it within us, we bring it to every situation. We bring it to every room. We bring it to every business dealing. We bring it with us when we come, and it transcends the situation. And the more we bring, the more we feel of it. So I want to share with you as we start here, as it talks about it, because it says it in a powerful way. It says, am I being busy extending love? Or am I busying myself fearfully trying to grasp at what I think can give me love? Look well then upon your parents, your siblings, your mates, and your friends. Not one of them holds the power to bring love to you. So what are you trying to get from them? Why do you ever insist that another ought to be conformed to what you believe you need? It's futile, 100%, absolutely, positively futile to seek love in relationship or from anything or anyone. It is, however, quite appropriate to extend love in each relationship with everyone and everything. Look at it this way. Imagine a light bulb in one of your fixtures that looks out from its filaments and says, well, I hope the person that just walked in the door is the right one. If I could just reach out and grab them, maybe my own light would come on. It is a lot easier to simply take the cord, plug it into the right socket. How many times are you going to insist on trying to plug your cord into the wrong socket? Well, that one didn't work. I'll try this body. I'll try this person. I'll try this career. Not getting very much juice from that either. And then you get angry because it is not giving you enough juice. Or it gave you enough juice yesterday, but not today, and so it must be its fault. There's only one little tiny socket into which you can plug your cord. It is the only one that it fits in, and it is the only socket wired to bring you the flowing and living waters of grace. That socket dwells within your own heart. Not the physical heart, but that which is symbolized by the physical heart, the very core of your being. But how many times in each day do you check in to see that the cord is still plugged in? How many times do you remember to ask yourself, is my commitment to love or is my commitment to fear? Fear is the act of disconnecting your cord from the only socket that can truly satisfy you and running about trying to plug it into someone else's or something else's. I'd ask you to consider this one question as you look upon your whole experience. Has that ever worked? Imagine trying to hold water in the palm of your hands and squeezing your fingers together. How much are you left with? Does it run through your fingers no matter what? It finds the little holes and flows away. You open your hand and there is not any left. Yet each time you look upon another, whether parent or sibling, friend or mate or teacher or whatever physical person or object, and try to plug into the socket to get the juice you believe you need, that is just what you're doing, and you are literally ending up squeezing the life out of the relationship. When we first seek the kingdom and plug the cord into the socket into your heart, when you remember that you are your source are one, that only love is real and nothing else matters, you will remember that the temptation to find love outside yourself is nothing more than an echo of an old habit. And that habit cannot live unless you feed it. When you have experienced in relationship with anyone or anything a moment of bliss, a moment of peace that forever passes understanding, a moment of fulfillment so sweet and so sublime that no word could touch it, much less express it, what you have experienced is only the flow of love of God through you. That person or thing did not cause it. It was caused because for just a moment, you stepped out of your own drama, you stepped out of your own dream and allowed the truth to be lived. Then, of course, you tricked yourself into believing that God, that was so sweet. That was the best thing I've ever tasted. It must have come from you. Get over here. I need you. If you ever believe that you need anything or anyone, rest assured in that moment, you are living in a delusion. A bit of a long reading. But what it is saying to us is that it is never outside ourselves. That every single time we expect somebody to fill what we need, when we expect life or anything outside of us to fill what we need, it can't, and we will always be disappointed. But when we bring to our relationship, when we know that all that we need is inside of us, all that we need is already here. We talk about metaphysics. Metaphysics is that beyond the physical. There's so much more to life than that which we see. We don't see wind, but we know of it. We don't see electricity, but we know of it. We don't see peace, but we feel it. We see the effect of it. We don't even see joy in its abundance, but we experience it. And love is the same way. There's an abundance of it that is fully running, but it has to move through us. When we become that place, that vessel, that vehicle which can see, I once was blind, but now I see the presence of love. When we open our being so that we're not obstructed, it's almost like a hose. It can flow fully through us. We can become that place, and you all have felt it and you all have experienced it. Where you become that place that is happy, that is so flowing with good, so flowing with God, so flowing with Source, so flowing with joy and love and peace, that it just flows unobstructedly, and we've all felt it. It changes our outside world. And sometimes there's just a little kink in the hose. And we know that. And we can tell when we're not connected and it's not feeling good, and it shows in our outside world. And sometimes we're completely shut off. But is there any less of it present? Is it any less powerful? Is it any less transforming? No. But it's there for us. And so as we call it forth, never outside, asking anyone outside to fix or change it, particularly in a relationship, when we step into love, when we come from love, when we speak from love, when we see only love, our relationships all change and transform. We can do this with our children. I know with our teenagers, sometimes it's very hard, our kids, to, when they're feeling bad or they're acting out. But never ever, as Abraham has shared and saved, never ever can we scold somebody into feeling good. Or can we scold somebody or punish somebody or criticize somebody into doing the right thing? Because you've all felt it. When your hose is kinked and you're not feeling that supply and that source and that real connection to all of the good of life, then you're disconnected. And from there, it's really hard to get to life working and feeling really good. But when we're connected to Source, when we're connected to that, all things work. So like with our teenagers and our children, when things aren't working out, or even our mates, when things aren't working out, our relationships aren't working out, we can't criticize them, we can't scold them, we can't punish them, we can't do any of those things to them to make it right or make it work. The only power and the transcending power and the full power is the power of love. We can love somebody until they remember the truth of their being. And when we love them and we tell them the truth and we tell them how great they are and we tell them how that love flows and how life works, and when we remind them, they get back connected, and then they are the beautiful children or the beautiful mates or all that we want them to be. We love them into their connection. We love them into them remembering. We love them into their joy. We love them into their wisdom and their creativity. That's how we do it. But even we as individuals need to remember that ourselves. We forget. In our group on Monday night, there was a statement that came up that I just loved. It was such a shift for me, as one of our individuals said, that you know with children, how there is a teaching method that says catch them doing something right? So that we're not putting focus on what they're not doing and always scolding them. We catch them doing it right. And we tell them, good job. You really did good in eating all your cereal. You really did good in cleaning up your room. You really did good in being nice. You really used great manners. Well, this individual shared with us in class that that's how she actually tries to do for herself. She catches herself being good, doing it right. How do most of us live? We catch ourselves doing it wrong. We ignore all the times we're doing it right and all of those things, but we say, oh, I need to change this. Oh, I need to fix this. Oh, I need to do this. In fact, we become like these monitors that look around at everything that's not working so that we can fix it. Well, of course we're finding it. And think about that. It struck me so powerfully, because if we did that to our children, we would never do that to our children. We always look for what they're doing good and doing right and praise it. And it reminded me, now it's time for us, or for me and for all of us, that would be a wonderful exercise. Catch ourselves doing something good. Catch ourselves doing something right and praise it. I love that concept. I was sharing this with a friend who said that there's actually a book written, and there's an exercise within this book of taking 30 days, and she did this with a friend of hers, 30 days of calling your friend, and the assignment is that when you talk to your friend or your mate or whoever that is, you have to tell them something you really appreciate about yourself. And you have to do it for 30 days, and you can't duplicate it, and you just write down those things that you said. Now you've got to come up with 30 things that you really appreciate about yourself. And then the individual that you're talking to does the same thing. She was saying it is the most powerful exercise she had ever done. And then had shifted, because the next part of that is that for the next 30 days, you shift and you tell the other person what you appreciate about them, and they tell you what they appreciate about you. And you write that down too. And how powerful that is. How good that is to catch ourselves doing something good, and to find and write about all the things that we appreciate about ourselves. Because as we said, love is always there. It's always in its abundance. It's always flowing. It's always present. It's only us that closes the door to it. It's only us that changes our attention away from it. It's only us that forgets to look at it. And it's a powerful, in fact, it's the most powerful tool to transcend any individual, any business dealing, anything that's going on, is to be that place of joy and love and just faith and trust and knowing that it's good and that it's going to work out. Well, you all know that. We've all used it. But as I said at the very beginning, sometimes we forget how powerful it is and the truth of it. But love is not an intellectual thing. Love is a feeling. And I was thinking about it because I had done this a while back and I had forgotten about it. That we need to name, or we need to acknowledge, or we need to address the feeling of connection, or the feeling of love, or the feeling of feeling God, or feeling our source. Because we forget about that. And we need to acknowledge and bring to our awareness, okay, if God is love, and feeling good is feeling God, then I'm feeling the presence of that creator, that infinite source. I am feeling that right now, and it feels like this. If we can name what that feeling feels like, that's where love comes from, because love isn't in the head. Love is a feeling. We can't talk ourselves into it. We can't intellect ourselves into it. It actually is a feeling that we allow in us. Now we use words, and we use experiences, and we use thoughts to help activate it within us. But we need to know when we arrived by how it feels in our body. Because that source wants one thing. Life wants one thing. We were made as these pure emanations, made in the image and likeness of the divine. One thing. And so any time we're not experiencing, it's not life that's done it, because it's just being. It's just being love and grace and wholeness. It's just being. It's us that have forgotten and kinked the hose, if you will. So when it's there in its fullness and it's flowing, or when it's not, we're just separated from it in consciousness. But that's all that it is, and that is an illusion, and that is temporary. So when we're feeling that, and when we've separated from it, then our life starts reflecting that. And I want to share with you a reading on that. It says, only that which dissolves our illusions and separations occur in our life. And it comes from free will. But free will does not mean that you can elect not to take the only curriculum that life is offering you every moment. It means that you do have the right to put it off yet another day. And each time you put it off, you slumber in your sufferings. Meaning life has a path for you. But when we let go of our own will and our own resistance and our own way, all things move to support us, to guide us to the right person, to the right place, to the right book, to the right surprise, to the right sunrise, to the right meadow, in order to assist us from dropping the shackles of the obstacles to the presence of love. So when we make the decision, or we pray to God, our higher power, bring me to truth, dissolve my separation, unkink my hose, if you will, you may rest assured from that moment on that it is time to trust every little thing that unfolds. For attempting to separate yourself from love or God or your highest good is as futile as the sunbeam trying to separate itself from the sun. So we are these vessels that we are put here. We are put here to love and to be grace and to be wholeness and to be abundant and to be joyful and to be free and to be feeling good and for life to work. That's what we're made of. And we have this path, and we have this support, and we have this guidance system that won't let us fail at that. Sometimes it feels like it does. But the things that come into our life are called unto us by our soul, literally, because our soul of our being knows the truth of our being. We all know that good is ours and supposed to feel good. We all know that's our divine right. And so the experiences that our soul calls forth to us are perfect in the tapestry, if you will, of the life that we have. For if we're feeling kinked or we're feeling separated from it, already built in is an automatic system that calls to us that which will shift our perception, shift our attention, so that we can get back on the path to our wholeness. So there never is anything that we're doing that we've done wrong. For as we trust in life and we trust in the unfoldment of it, everything unfolds for our greater good. Everything is leading us to that high space, or as the book says, everything is leading us home to our wholeness and our fullness. And that we normally define as love. When somebody loves us, they're doing everything that is kind, everything that supports us, everything that guides us, everything that leads us, everything that makes it a little bit easier. So we talk about life loving us because it's supporting us and guiding us and leading us. Love heals all things, embraces all things, and transcends all things. It's the most powerful power that there is. For it is God. God and love are synonymous. God in action. This chapter goes on, and it actually gets pretty deep. And it really makes you think about a lot of things on how we utilize that. But the biggest thing that it lets us know is that we never walk alone, that we are always guided and guarded, that this power is right there for us, that it never leads us, that it stands there even when we decide to be little, or we decide to kink our hose, or we decide to turn our vision completely away from it. It waits, and it is there patiently for us. And it does everything to pull us back into remembering that truth, and it brings the people, it brings the circumstances, it brings everything that pulls us back, so that if we do veer from it, it's never for very long. So we can give up that sense of our own power and our own will of making it happen. We can let go of, Abraham says, of the oars. Instead of putting our boat in the river and turning it upstream and trying to paddle against the current, we can let go and trust that what's unfolding, what's occurring, is perfect stepping stone that our soul is called forth to bring us to that place that we are screaming for, that we know is who we are. That is our wholeness, our love, the truth, the being, the peace, the happiness, the joy, the abundance. That's who we are. That is our divine birthright. And everything in life keeps guiding us, taking it on that path, taking us on that path, bringing that to our awareness. Our job is to remember that we don't walk alone. We're not doing this alone. That we have a loving presence that is embracing us, healing us, guiding us, leading us. That this power of love, as we consciously choose it, consciously choose to use these principles, this power can transcend every situation, every relationship, every experience, every feeling, every ounce of darkness, everything that has ever occurred. That sense of love and seeing the love in it and the truth in it and trusting and guiding it can transcend the life that we are living and the life of those that are around us. Because the love that flows through us changes lives. Anyone that comes in contact with love, it activates within them the love that is within them. Love activates love. Love attracts love. Love calls forth love. Love expands love. Just that essence just changes the entire world. And it is all ours for free. Right there. From that beautiful one power, that one presence, that one experience, that one truth, that one knowing, that one love, that one God. So let us turn within as we just give thanks for this truth. As we close our eyes to this outside world and we move down into our heart. For we judge not by appearances, because appearances are the end effect of creations that we set in motion before. And each and every moment we are setting in motion new creations, new outcomes. We're planting new seeds, fertilizing them, and seeing new manifestations in each and every moment based on our love, based on our awareness, based on that which we put into motion. And so it's with that that I give thanks, knowing that each and every moment is brand new. Each and every moment has already within it all of the love and peace and joy, abundance and wholeness and perfect right action. And I stand as an unobstructed, open hose vehicle through which it can move through and manifest as my life. I give thanks for this truth and this knowingness. I plant this seed and I allow it to grow, knowing that it is done. And so it is. Amen. May you always feel the embrace of God. May your heart radiate with love and light. May you know that your every step is guarded and guided. And may you feel, sense, and know God's amazing grace. For it is in, through, and around us always and in always. God bless you all. Say, God bless you.
Bless you.
Good night.